Hi guys, this is Dr. Sadasivam with you once again. And in one of the last videos, we had discussed in terms of how investment in terms of infrastructure will lead to enormous accelerator and multiplier effects in the economy compared to investments in the other sectors. And to prove home that point, we had taken these examples of how the government of United States of America, the president at that time, Hoover, invested in infrastructure. Hoover's Dam I'm talking about, soon after Great Depression in the year 1929, in order to take US out of the Great Depression. And if you remember very well, we also talked about the Keynesian theory of economics, where Keynes, John Maynard Keynes, brought to this world the aspect of deficit financing, which is borrowing money to pump prime the economy, to create jobs, infrastructure, etc., etc. Because infrastructure creates enormous employment compared to investment in the other sectors of the economy. So in the context of all these things, we talked about Central Vista project, and today we are going to talk about all the projects which are in the anvil as far as the government is concerned in the infrastructure. And each of this is going to bring in huge amount of money in the infrastructure. For a layman, he might think, why is the government wasting money in infrastructure? But let me once again reiterate the fact that it's not a waste, because the revenues that are going to accrue in the long run far outweighs the investment made. And not just that, the investment which is made here is going to come back to the government in the form of taxes, in the form of direct, indirect taxes, because the money is not going anywhere. The money is going to circulate it within the economy to some contractors, steel, cement, labor, engineers, and everything which is used to construct this infrastructure. All that money which is put in as investment is going to come back to the government in the form of direct, indirect taxes. That's what we are talking about, and that's what the whole economy is all about. We also discussed the concept of circular flow of money, circular velocity of money. We talked a lot about that in terms of how this money goes to people and comes back to the government, and the speed at which this money comes back. Like in physics, we study about speed, acceleration. Speed is the rate of change of displacement, and what is acceleration? It is the rate of change of speed, right? dt by ds, d square t by ds square, etc., etc. All of that which we have learned in physics and science. And today we are going to talk about 5 big projects that the government has undertaken in order to boost money in the infrastructure. Okay, first we are going to talk about a big cricket stadium. We all know that the world's biggest cricket stadium is situated in Melbourne, but India is going to break that record. The biggest stadium is going to be constructed in India, right? Cricket is something very special for the entire Indian population, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. The craze of cricket does not end at all. Imagine a situation when you have such a big stadium where 5,000 spectators, 1,10,000 spectators will be sitting and watching these cricket matches, and you will be cheering the team. Foreigners will be there. You can imagine how much of a revenue generation potential this cricket stadium holds. Don't just look at the money spent on it, because money spent on it has already come back to us in the form of taxes, etc., etc., that we discussed. But look at the kind of enthusiasm that it will create. People from all over the world will be coming there. Look at the amount of foreign exchange. The media companies from all around the world will be coming, videographing this, relaying this match, throughout the world. Okay, so 1,10,000 people can watch this stadium. If you look at the history of the stadium, it is the same stadium in Ahmedabad, which used to be called as Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Stadium. Currently, it has around 50,000 spectators. That's going to be broken and a new stadium will be coming in its place. And it's just not cricket. There will be 55-room clubhouse. There will be a swimming pool which is as big as a swimming pool, Olympic swimming pool. There will be 76 corporate boxes within which there will be a huge gymnasium. And over and above that, we have seen instances of sudden rains during the cricket matches, stopping the whole match. Those issues will not be there. They have been designed a rainwater drainage system where within half an hour, complete water will be drained away and the ground is up and running for another round of cricket match. One more issue that always comes to our mind is parking. There is absolutely no problem for parking because people who have planned to watch cricket in this stadium, each of their requirements have been taken into consideration. The designers, the architects have taken all these things into account. There will be a parking for more than 5,000 parking slots for four-wheelers and 10,000 parking slots for two-wheelers. There will be metro facilities for guys who don't want to bring their car or motorbike to the stadium. And the whole stadium is being constructed on 64 acres of land. So this way the thing is on for the last 5 years, and hope maybe in the next 1 year or so this will be over, and the total cost of this project is approximately 700 crores. Right, this project was conceived when Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, he was the president of the Cricket Association in Ahmedabad. So obviously we need to look at that in terms of more infrastructure, more employment generation, and once there will be a lot of employment, there will be spectators, there will be more earnings, and it's going to be a very good revenue stream for the government of India. That's project number one. Project number two, we are going to talk about a highway project. Let us also this is about a tunnel, and let's look at why this tunnel is there. Once it is built, it will be the longest tunnel in the country. We will look at why and how this is going to be made. This tunnel is going to be made at a height of 11,578 feet. This will be right on the Srinagar-Kargil highway. Especially that particular area, we are all aware of Ladakh. The winter is extremely severe in those places. We also know that huge military have been stationed in those locations for security reasons. You have Pakistan, you have China, all these aggressions happening, and there is a need for a high military presence there. During winter, because of heavy snowfall, it's completely cut out from the rest of India. At times the temperature reaches sub-zero temperatures. Sub-zero means minus 45 degrees centigrade, right? And during the onset of winter, that area is completely cut out from the mainland. We were actually talking about this Leh, Ladakh, Kargil, Drass, Siachen highway. And once this tunnel comes up, all those areas will be completely connected with the mainland. Not just that, even during the other times, this stretch used to be considered as one of the most dangerous roads in the whole world. I'm talking about before the tunnel, right? The roads, extremely difficult road conditions, and extremely well-trained drivers from the army who are certified to drive cars. They alone can drive vehicles in that road. But once this tunnel comes into place, most of these problems will be taken care of. And little bit about that tunnel, that will be a two-way tunnel, and that will be the longest in Asia, and that will be constructed 400 meters under the ground. And look at how strategically important it is from the point of view of defense forces and our own strategic interests. Okay, currently it takes approximately 3 hours to travel by road, but once this tunnel comes up, the whole journey will be completed in just 15 minutes, and that's going to be the speed of operations there. And vehicles can travel at the speed of 80 kilometers per hour. Not just this, you might think that under the tunnel communication may not be there, etc. It's important for the military especially. What if communication is not there? How will the military be able to communicate amongst each other, get orders from the headquarters. All that has been taken into consideration. Excellent communication facilities will be that, I don't know, radar, sonar, whatever communication equipments they may have, but all said and done, communication will be excellent there. Safety is one of the important things, especially when you talk about tunnels, etc., etc. Now, if you look at the investments made, it is approximately around 6,000 to 7,000 crores. And as we said, investment in infrastructure, it is not a cost center, but it's an investment to generate enormous amount of employment. And even tourists, we'll talk about tourists. If you look at the tourists currently, only the rich people are traveling there because travel is restricted only by air. But once this tunnel comes up, every normal person like you and me can go there. If you look at the amount of employment opportunities that it will create and the amount of revenue streams for the local people, they run their shops and it will thrive as a business, and the cost of land will go up manifold as it has in most of the hill stations in the country. Your Simla, Kodaikanal, Ooty, Mussoorie, any of these. And this has been one area which was not taken care of in the last 50-60 years, but now so much of development is taking place. Okay, from the perspective of from the perspective of defense, from the perspective of tourism, from the perspective of the local people, it is going to be a win-win. This foundation was laid in 2018 and it's going in full swing. This is one project that has raised the eyebrows of Chinese. They had their eyes set on this, but with this tunnel coming up, there will be a huge infrastructural development for our military, and the strength of the military will be strengthened a lot more, and that is why it is causing concern to China. It's a very, very strategic place and China is raising its eyebrows. They may not be able to intrude into those areas as easily as they have been intruding in the past, and that's as far as the India-China border strengthening is concerned. And not just China, the image of India in the outside world has gone up manifold. Not just for the Indian tourists, foreign tourists will also keep flocking to this place, and with all that we will be able to provide enough security to the tourist visiting that place, and in all that it's going to play a very, very important point. Now we're going to talk about the third important point, which is bullet train. That has invited lots and lots of controversies in the past. In fact, most of these controversies are because people do not understand macroeconomics. If you don't understand macroeconomics, you will not appreciate these investments, because any money which is invested into the infrastructure, that is going to give you many more times in terms of returns, in terms of multiplier effects. It is not an expenditure at all, it is investment. We will talk a lot about that. I don't want to repeat that again. I will be putting up a separate video on this. As far as bullet train is concerned, we all know that Indian economy is galloping at a speed we have never witnessed in the past, and symbolically this bullet train is going to run as fast as the Indian economy. That's a symbolic kind of an indication. It is not just a bullet train. In fact, in Japan it's called as a Shankai Sein. This is going to go under the water also. In fact, China is already on the project of investing money on submarine trains, which means trains which can go under the water inside the sea. Japan is also working on such projects, and now India is seeking technology transfer from Japan. And what we are talking about is a bullet train from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, which was much in the news 1 or 2 years back. And we will talk a little bit about that, but it will be a high-speed train corridor, and the speed of the train will be the train will cover a distance of approximately 508 kilometers, out of which 21 kilometers will be under the sea. Under the sea area will be between Maharashtra, will be between Kalyan and Mumbai. This project was expected to be completed by August 2022, but we are not very sure whether it will be done because of your corona. It got into certain legal issues with the Maharashtra government. We will talk about that little later during this video. So as far as the passenger carrying capacity is concerned, this can carry around 800 passengers. Once the system starts and the traffic develops, then additional seats can be incorporated, which will take the whole capacity to approximately 1240 seats. But during the initial stages, it will not be done. The government will look at the traffic and then take a call accordingly in terms of how many seats to be increased based on cost and benefit analysis. There will be two kinds of seats. One is economy and one is the executive, and it will also have revolving seats just to offer comfort and convenience to passengers. As far as the fares are concerned, it will be slightly less than the aircraft, but somewhere equal to two-tier AC. But if you look at the investment, it's going to be 1 lakh crores of investment, right? I won't say that again. It's not cost. I'm repeating it so many times. I know that because people should understand, right? This is macroeconomics, and we shouldn't think that it shouldn't look like how we manage household expenses in terms of expenses, right? It is not expense, it is investment. Out of this, 80% of this money will be coming from Japan at a very low interest rate of 0.1%, right? And the repayment schedule, you know how much? 50 years, 50 I'm talking about. The normal auto loans which we get for 3 years and 5 years. You can repay this amount. Government of India can repay in 50 years. For example, the EMI that you're paying today, for example, after 50 years, you can imagine the value of that after 50 years, right? We don't know how the inflation will pan out in the next 50 years. Look at the repayment schedule of 50 years. And for the initial 12 years, there won't be any payment at all, and that's the manner in which the whole deal has been negotiated by efficient people in the government of India, right? So this is what this whole bullet train is concerned, but you need to wait for some time because Maharashtra government has already thrown a spanner in the works. I mean the Maharashtra government, because in their scheme of things, they say that investment in infrastructure is not a priority for Maharashtra government. We hope wisdom will prevail on the Maharashtra government. There are vested interests, because I don't want to talk too much about that, because this is not a political video. This is an information providing video for IAS aspirants. I have certain things to say, but I am controlling myself, resisting myself. I don't want to make it into a political post. Okay, so we need to hold our breath for a little more time, till such time wisdom prevails on the government of Maharashtra and they support this project. Now we're going to talk about the investment in the airport. That's the fourth biggest project we are going to talk about. It's going to be the second biggest airport in Asia, and that's going to come up in India, where in our own Noida. This is the Jewar Airport. Once that comes up, that will be the fourth biggest airport, fourth biggest in the world, and the second biggest in Asia. This will be in Greater Noida, around that area, not exactly, somewhere around 56 kilometers, I guess. It started in 2001, but it was not executed. There were lots and lots of issues. Acquisition will of the government was not there. We really don't know what happened, but it took 20 long years. It went into various political lobbying. It went into hibernation. We don't know the facts, but the fact is that it did not take off at all. But after Modi came into power, this project was started. So the existing plan is that it will come in 4 different phases. Okay, the whole area, we got to talk about this area of the airport will be approximately 6,000 acres. It will have approximately 6 to 8 runways, and it will come up in 4 different phases. In the first phase, 1 crore passengers per year will travel in the first phase, and in the second phase there will be approximately 3 crore traffic in the year, and in the third there will be traffic of 5 crore, and once the last phase gets completed, There will be a traffic of 7 crore every year, which is 7% of the whole Indian population, right? 5% of the total. How much of economic prosperity this airport is going to bring to our Bharat Mata is something I would leave it to you for your imagination, coupled with the air traffic and other employment opportunities in running that airport, etc., etc. This is as far as the airport is concerned. Once it comes up, we can all be very proud that we will be having the 5th biggest airport in the whole world. And those guys in the world who were talking about India as a third world country, now they have to think 3 times before calling India as a third world economy. And India is marching towards that 5 trillion economy, and all these things will put India in the 5 trillion economy map of the whole world. Very few countries, and all our dreams will come true, and India will once again become a superpower as it was at one point of time. Now we're going to talk about one more infrastructure, investment in the infrastructure. This is infrastructure in the tallest mandir. Once again, this mandir episode, why investment in temple, etc. It is an investment in the infrastructure at the cost of repeating it so many times. It's going to bring in enormous amount of business, right? But at the same time, highlight India's spiritual quotient for the whole world. That's the purpose that it serves, and it's going to be a great tourism spot for people, not just from India, from the whole world. People will flock to this place from all around the world. For example, Statue of Liberty, what is it? It is a tourist destination. What else is there? Crores and crores of people from around the globe visit Statue of Liberty for a tourist purpose. Other than that, what is the Statue of Liberty? What objective does it satisfy? There's nothing, right? It serves no objective. But investment infrastructure and tourism. This investment in the mandir also needs to be seen as an investment in infrastructure and tourism, and also highlight India's spiritual quotient. We will talk a little bit about that. We all know that India is the spiritual capital for the whole world, and as regards this particular investment is concerned, it's going to be 2,000 crores of investment. This is going to make a mark in the whole world, right? This is expected to come up in Vrindavan, in an area of approximately 800 crores of investment. I think the temple will be in a height of approximately 700 feet, and it will be covered in 65 acres. There will be amusement parks, light shows, sound shows. There will be a big auditorium where 5,000 people at one point of time, they can sit and listen to religious parivartan and parivachan and Bhagavad Gita, sight and sound. And there will be a Yamuna Creek where people can go and enjoy the river. Boatings will be there. There will be a capsule elevator which will take people to great heights, and so many tech gadgets will be there, all tourism, and it's going to bring in enormous amount of foreign exchange. It's going to generate employment both in terms of operating it and also in terms of making this project. There's another one which is coming up in Bangalore, and that is called as Vaikunt Hill. One of the 750 crores is going to be invested on that, and that will be kind of a theme park. And the whole experience will be called as a Vaikunt experience, just to create some kind of a hype around it. And we want not just the Indian tourists to enjoy this place, and we want tourists from all around the world to visit this place, so that they will be spending their valuable foreign exchange in our country, and that can strengthen our currency to a great extent. They will be parking for approximately 5,000 people. There will be a helipad and a lot of other facilities, and a lot of things are being planned there, and we need to wait for all this. So with all this infrastructure, India is marching well towards the $5 trillion economy, and that is just not going to remain as a dream, and they're all going to turn up as a reality. I will also be coming up with another video on the economic aspects. Remember, we were talking about multiplier, we were talking about accelerator effects from a macroeconomic perspective, and we will also try to share some PhD level thesis studies which have thought on the fact that how investment in the infrastructure will give you far more returns compared to investment in the other sectors. Okay, guys, I hope you all liked this presentation, and this is Dr. Sadasivam signing off till we meet again in the new series video, and thank you so much. Jai Hind.
உடல் சுருங்கி எரிந்தால் கீழ் மூச்சு